friends, and welcome back to Sewing from Scratch. I am Kate, and this is where I teach you everything I know about sewing, and we learn more together along the way. Today, talking cover stitch machines and what I don't like about them. I don't know that I would recommend getting a cover stitch machine for the average home sewist. I absolutely love having one, but going back, would I buy it again? Honestly, it's a tough one for the price, you know what I'm saying? So I do have a couple videos already discussing what a cover stitch machine is and what the difference is between a cover stitch machine and a serger or an overlocker, as well as what, like, my specific machine. So today we are just talking about the things that I do not like about cover stitch machines, in case you're on the fence, in case you're thinking like, I need a cover stitch machine, I'm a home sewist, I'm sewing garments, I'm sewing lots of knit garments, I need a cover stitch machine. Spoiler alert, no you don't. Let's find out why. So the reason I bought my cover stitch was because I was doing sewing to sell. I was sewing knit garments and then selling them. Etsy shop, link below if you want. I'm clearing out, so check it out. But at that time I thought I needed one. Well, I was in the market for one, it was a good deal, one of those things, you know? And it was kind of a bit of buyer's remorse when I realized, like, well, first of all, I quit sewing to sell, and then, you know, it was a lot of money for at the time, and I should have just waited a little bit longer until I had more money saved up for it. So this is just my experience, and take it with a grain of salt if you may, and let's find out what I don't love about having a cover stitch machine. So the first thing I want to say is you can get virtually the same finish with a twin needle on your regular sewing machine. I have a video on this too, but essentially it's the same thing. There's just a couple more variables, or maybe not even variables, but it's just maybe a thicker learning curve. Whereas with the cover stitch machine, I mean, that's its job, right? It's meant to do twin needle stitching specifically on knit garments. I use mine for wovens, but specifically knit garments, hemming makes your life easier. So why is that not great? Why wouldn't I just love this machine to all ends of the earth? Well, it's not as simple as you think. The number one thing I don't like about it is you can't backstitch on it. So you can't actually lock in your stitches. People will say, yeah, just like drive back over the starting stitch if you're sewing in the round or stitching in the round. And yeah, that does work, but not all the time. And over time, it stretches out and it'll still come undone and unravel. That's probably my number one thing I don't love about cover stitch, is that you can't backstitch with it and lock in your stitches. You actually have to manually go in, pull the needle threads to the back and tie them off, and then hide that tail, which I don't do because who has time for that? Like, I mean, if you own a business and you're sewing to sell, definitely do that because your customers will appreciate your hems not coming undone. But personally, for my own sewing, I just sew right over top, and if the hem comes down, then I just redo it eventually. Like, that's the reason. Okay, let's move on. The next thing that's really up there on my list of do not like is you can't turn corners. You can't, and I mean, I know with a double needle it's also difficult, but I do find it actually a little bit easier than with a cover stitch machine. I have done corners in the past and things like that, and there's no great way to do an actual 90-degree corner unless you like stop and then start again. And even then, like, they don't, because you're going one way and then you need to go this way, so they're never gonna, you know, line up right unless you were to like take one needle thread out a couple loops, and then like it would just be a lot of hassle. So I don't like that. I don't like, you know, a lot of times if you're using like a single needle, I'm talking on wovens here because obviously with knits it's a little different, but you could just do one row and then do a parallel row, and then it would finish a lot nicer for corners. So that's kind of like one of my big hang-ups, and the fact that it like keeps your fabric in there and you can't maneuver it. You have to actually like so you turn the hand wheel backwards to like release the thread, and then it brings out your garment. So it just adds a little bit of complexity to when you're not just sewing a straight line. And then on my specific machine, I don't have a free arm. So what that means is I can't do like a loop around. So this is a Serger cover stitch combo, and for it to not have a free arm is really weird. And at the time when I bought it, I'm like, oh, I mean, it's the only one they had. I rushed into it, like I mentioned already. So if you are shopping for one, make sure it has a free arm. I've obviously made do without it, but it's a hassle. Like, it would be so much nicer to have a portion that came off of here so that I could actually fit a cuff around here, because a lot of times I am hemming cuffs or, you know, the bottoms of waistbands, and it's nice to have that continuous loop. Another big thing with Serger's cover stitches is the threading. And I mean, it's not like the end of the world. Yes, you can get air threading machines, you pay for those definitely, but the threading is, it's just annoying. And especially when I was first learning to use this machine, the threads were breaking all the time and I was constantly having to rethread. And this machine actually has, to thread the loopers, it has like a spring-loaded loader or spring action loader, I guess, where you like can loop the thread around and then it puts it into place. Whereas on my Serger, you have to like take everything apart. So that's kind of nice, but that's also because this doesn't come apart to actually get into the back of that looper. But again, it's just a hassle. Whereas like with a twin needle, it's just 2 spools of thread or a spool of thread and a bobbin or whatever, and away you go. Another thing is it can be difficult to get the tension set right. And this is probably the #1 thing with a twin needle that's hard, is getting the tension set right. So it does take practice. This machine has built-in tension. So on the side, there's a dial here for each particular stitch, because it has, I don't know, way too many stitches. And so I just turn that dial and then it auto sets these tensions. Like, these are just, they're not numbers, right? So it just auto sets it. So I do love having that because my kids are all the time on here with these dials or these little toggles. So that's really handy. And then you just like adjust a little bit either way if you need. But it is still like a learning thing. You do definitely have to do like a test piece of fabric before you actually start on your real garment, which I do recommend for anything, but it's just another thing, right? So another thing with cover stitching that you may or may not know is when you cover stitch, and we've talked about the hems coming undone, like unraveling. Well, what happens is the starting of the stitch, so in the direction of the stitch, those threads, they won't really come undone because they're kind of locking themselves in a way or tying themselves in a way that they can't come undone where they're overlapping. But when you're done, so if you stitch portion and then you're done with that stitch, the looper thread, if you pull on that, the whole thing comes undone. The whole thing just comes undone. So if you like get it snagged on something, or I have a cutter, like a thread cutter on the back here, sometimes when I'm going to cut the thread, something gets snagged and then it's like a portion of my stitching has come undone and I got to redo it, and then you're overlapping and it just doesn't look nice. So I don't love that. It's great for if you make a mistake or you want to redo it, you just like pull that thread and it's like and it's done. But it's something you definitely have to be aware of. So now I make sure I go right to the end and I like hold that, and I'm very careful with how I take it out because any little tug on it will unravel your stitching. And the last thing that I have to mention about cover stitch machines in general is when you're getting started, you want to be kind of right at the edge of that fabric. And so on any machine, it's going to want to suck that fabric in. So you do really need to hold those threads at the back to get going, but you can't hold them too tight because then it won't stitch, and like it's a whole big thing, and it's just a little bit more hassle than it's worth. And then with this particular machine, I also find it very bouncy. So right now I have it set up on a makeshift counter, so it's not the best situation, but it is still pretty thick board and it's right beside a major support, so it shouldn't be as bouncy as it is. I've also used it on like a table and other things like that, and it's still just like, it moves more than I would like. So maybe it's because it's, you know, not the top end machine, but it is still pretty heavy, and I don't think that it should be bouncing that much, but it does. So those are just some things that I don't like about cover stitch machines, and I just wanted to give you some insight that it's like, yes, having a cover stitch machine is great and it's useful and it's fun to have it and it can do like some really cool decorative stitches, but don't feel like you need it. Don't feel like you need to spend that money. Absolutely not. And don't feel like left out if you don't have one, because it's one of those things where we like always talk about the great things about it. So I just wanted to share like the other side of the story, right? Now you know the rest of the story. So I hope it was helpful for you, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching and staying to the end. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so I can see you in the next video. And one last point is don't forget about Shelf Sewing September because dun, 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 it is starting. So I will link that video down below if you have no idea what I'm talking about, as well as my Instagram account where the challenge is taking place. There are prizes, so don't miss out. Thanks again, and I will see you next time. Bye!